So now that we understand formula, right, and we know that what runs across expressions like algebraic expression, formula, and equations are usually symbols, right? So now we are going to look at something. So usually, right, now we are going to start doing operations on these particular equations, right? So with these symbols, sometimes you are given values and you have to use those values, right, to compute a particular how do you call it, symbol value, right, but mostly informally, right? So let's say we have this k equals to r d squared over l as an example, or maybe it is too much. Let me just do y is equal to mx plus c. All right, and now this is what we have. So this is an equation, this is also an equation. Both are equations, right, and both are formulae, because you can see more than one type of symbols, right? And there's an equation, like there's an equation sign, so that qualifies it to be an equation. Okay, so in most cases they will now be start giving you values, and then you have to use those values, put it inside to find one of the symbols. So you'll be given values, and then for the rest of the symbols, and then you use that to compute the value for the missing one. So what happens is that you have to also keep in mind some of the things. We already do operators like plus, right? But when two symbols are together, we know that this is doing multiplication. This is the same as we are doing 2x. 2x is the same as 2 multiplying the x itself, right? 2 multiplying the x itself. So mx is the same as m multiplying x itself, right? So that's what you need to keep in mind, that symbols, when they are together straight like that, I mean, they are bound together straight. There's no something separating them. Then they are usually multiplying. We'll see multiple cases. So if you see this side, right, r is multiplying d squared. R is multiplying d squared. So you have to keep in mind that the basic thing for PEMDAS or board mass and everything, right, you have to do exponential first, right? You take care of the d squared. After you do that, the result you multiply it by r, then you will be fine. Basically, that's usually we are going to use the PEMDAS and board mass and whatever you are taught. Okay, so now, so this will lead us to the concept of substitution, right? We are going to substitute value. We're giving value, and you do substitution of the values into the equation. So let's look at some examples. Now if they give us y is equal to mx plus c, and then they will give us, we have to compute the value for y when they are giving m is equal to 3, x is equal to 1, and c is equal to 5, right? So what you just do is that with this value, after substitution, we know y will be equal to m is what, 3 multiplying 1, which is the x, plus 5, right? This, yes, generally is good, but what I recommend for beginners or people who are actually struggling with mathematically this thing, when we are doing the substitution, I recommend that the substituted values are put inside with brackets. You put brackets around it so that you can manage it better and it's safer. So y is equal to, into bracket 3 multiplying, so it's going to be multiplying x, right? You see how it's on the side, plus c, which is 5. So it is now easy to manage them. Y is equal to 3 bracket 1 is like 3 multiplying 1, which will give you 3, plus 5 bracket, this thing is going to be 5. The reason why you put it in bracket is because imagine c is equal to -5 and x is equal to -1, right? So most of them is, if we don't use brackets to run through all the substituted values, what will happen, most people will do is that they will start doing y is equal to 3 multiplying -1 plus -5. Trust me, people do this, right? And it's confusing. But if we are working with brackets, right, so if whether the value that we are substituting is negative or not, we know that y will be equal to 3 brackets mx, right, -1 plus bracket negative 5. So it's easier to manage. So we have y is equal to 3 bracket negative 1, that will be negative 3, plus negative 5, that will be negative 5. So the value will be negative 8 in this case, right? So that clears out any confusion if you go inside with brackets. So now let's solve some questions on this particular stuff to be able to grasp the whole concept. So what I'm going to do mostly is to use I'm going to use, how do you call it, bracket mostly in most cases. Okay, so let me clear all this side for us. Okay, let's solve this question, right? So they gave us, given that the value, we are going to compute the value for k, given that r equals to 2, d equals to 4, and l equals to 16. But we will need a calculator for this particular thing. So but then the key point is to be able to do the computation. So k is equal to r is what, 2, right? I'm going to put 2 there. D is what, 4, right? Squared. You see, I'm able to manage this better. All over 16. So what does this give me? That will be 2 will be there, right? Because I need to do the exponential first. That will be 4 squared. That will be 16 all over 16, and this 16 cancel this 16, it will be left with 2. So this is the final answer. You see, with brackets we know how to handle them better. Without brackets, the confusion would have been this thing. We'll be doing this stuff, and then mind you, you have to know that some people will do 2 times 4 first before doing this. But because of odd maths and all that, we know that they have to deal with bracket first. So the method of using brackets will be the ones to how do you call it, get in. All right, now let's look for stuff like where are you? All right, so stuff like, what's the next thing? Another question, right? So I'm looking for another question for us to try. So sometime there may not be equations, but right now we are going to practice how to substitute values. We are given 2x plus 5y minus 7, and then we have to compute this particular expression. I told you it's an expression. So if it's an expression, we need to give in the value. So everything that we are going to, so s is equal to 2, y is equal to 3, right? Okay, so if that's the case, I'm going to do 2 brackets 2 plus 5 bracket 3 minus 7. I'm using the bracket way, right? So and then this will give me what, 2 by 2 bracket 2, that will be 4, plus 5 bracket 3, that will be 15, minus 7. So this is giving us 19 minus 7, which is giving us something like 12, I guess. Yes, that's 12. All right, so let's solve another one. So you see, substitution, I mean, like, you are giving the value, you just substitute. Is quite simple if you know what you are doing. I'm going to solve another one to actually help you. So we have 2y, right, minus 5y over y plus 5. Right, so you see, this is one thing on one side and this is another thing on one side. Here is just using the value y. So it's going to be 2 bracket 3 minus numerator is 5 bracket 3 all over 3 bracket 3 plus 5. So what we will have at the end, 2 bracket 3, that will be 6 minus 15 over 8. Then we can put this in a calculator and then evaluate the result at the end of the day, right? It's simple, right? Let's do another quite complicated, I don't know. Yes, so those are with brackets, with those with exponents. So I have, in this case, I'm not using y and this thing again. Okay, I'll be using half BC minus 6 AC plus D squared, right? Plus D squared. Or let me do DB squared or DA squared, like DA squared. So where A will be equal to 2, B will be equal to -1, C will be equal to -3, and D will be -2. So now let's solve for it. So it's going to be half B is what, -1, C is what, -3, right? So you see, I'm just substituting value because of the bracket. It's easy for me. I don't have to worry about negative when we negative whatever, because they're in brackets. I'm able to manage all. Minus, this minus is inside already. 6 bracket A is 2, C is what, bracket -3 plus D is what, -2 bracket A squared. So that will be 2 squared. Okay, so now what do I have? This and this. So that we have times -1 times -3, that will be +3, right? So that will be, it will be left with 3 here. So this and this will give me 3 times half minus 6 2 bracket -3, that will be what, -6 again. So 2 bracket negative, so this is here, right? So these two give me this plus this one. I'm going to keep this -2 for now, and I'll take care of 2 squared is 4, right? So that's what it gives me. At the end of the day, I'll have the first one will be 3 over 2, -6 times -6 inside here, negative, right? Multiplication, right? That become +36. Yeah, at this point you can use calculator to quickly put it inside, and this will give you -3, -2 bracket 4 is -8, right? To overcome the leading term, that will be -8. Then we put calculator inside to generate whatever answer we have, right? Because in Comat they give scores to the methods, right? Your steps, they give a lot of mark to the scores. So we need to be able to listen. If you directly put in the values and just put it in the calculator, they may not see your thought process, how you go about it, right? So basically, yeah, that's what we have to handle. All right, yeah.